So the public representations of the Trump case were completely false by the Biden administration, just like we now know from Atlanta and big Fani Willis and the trouble she's in, but how she and her lover were meeting at the White House. We now know that this was all coordinated at the Biden administration. The classified documents case is a bogus case. This has even further compounded by the discoveries of America First Legal of an Obama memorandum that basically gave the president carte blanche to declare certain records, presidential records, in such a way that they were already so declared, that also negates the entire indictment against President Trump. So you've got multiple prongs of the classified documents case just falling apart in live time. And this, comes on the immunity case issue still being heard in D.C. So that March 4th trial date's already been vacated. Anticipated that will go back up to the Supreme Court, but increasingly unlikely any of these criminal cases reach trial prior to Election Day. The Georgia case, also now a complete disaster because big Fani Willis admitting that what she was involved in and what she's really admitting, whether she wants to fully acknowledge its consequences, is money laundering and drumming up a bogus political case, committing a fraud against the state of Georgia.
Sometimes he paid, sometimes she paid, but who knows? But they're both paying with the same money. Robert, Bill Kristol,
taxpayers' dollars, where it's coming from.
Bill Kristol's coming up twice in one evening to highlight his stupidity. Crazy that a junior Trump-appointed and Trump-friendly judge can delay the trial in an open and shut case against him on the classified documents. Yet another instance where the guardrails can be shoved around enough that they don't reliably guard the rule of law or democracy. Bill Kristol is on a roll for being an absolute... He's funny. He's funnier than Billy Crystal. It's an amazing thing.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing with him is that the amount of death and mayhem he's caused around the world. I think it was Dave Smith or some other people. Maybe it was Alex Jones. It was Alex Jones. Alex Jones, who's having a lot of fun on his Twitter account these days. Yep. Alex said, I think we should try you for war crimes. What do you think, Bill? And that's absolutely the case. If anybody should be tried for crimes connected to war policy, it's Bill Kristol as much as anybody else. So those cases are really increasingly falling apart, and we'll see this week if this scheme to keep Trump off the ballot will also finally get killed, because the Supreme Court holds oral arguments, I believe, on Thursday on the Colorado ballot exclusion case concerning Trump.
That's going to be live, right? That's going to be on the Supreme Court's YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Well, I'll be commentating
on
that.
Well, it's somewhere on the Supreme Court you can listen in.
Okay.
That's the best I think they do, obviously. They still don't, they won't allow cameras in there. The holy Supreme Court can't afford cameras. But at least you can usually listen in, and sometimes you get assigned by what questions they ask. It's not always absolutely predictive, but if it can be, if all you get are hostile questions to one side or the other, then that is usually indicative of where the court's going to go.
Fani Willis is now subpoenaed to testify in Michael Roman's civil case against her for allegedly withholding relevant evidence. She's not getting out of that subpoena, right? I mean, she might try.
No, I don't think so. And I think there's going to be so much more public scrutiny on this. I think it's just a matter of time before these cases all get dismissed and she gets kicked out of office. Mm-hmm. I think she's just on the clock. I mean, this is so egregious example of money laundering as you could possibly imagine, misusing and abusing state power for political, partisan, and self-enrichment purposes. If Georgia has any self-respect, they will get rid of these charges and they will get rid of her office.
Well, do they impeach her?
Or
prosecute her?
Yeah, they do both. It's extensive. I mean, she fired the whistleblower that exposed it. I mean, there's multiple layers of illegal criminal behavior by her. And by the way, this is a good bridge. She should be subject to civil and criminal prosecution under the federal civil rights laws, because there should be no qualified immunity for what she's doing if you actually read the whole history of our civil rights laws.